Sheriff Todd Baxter, employees of the Martin County Sheriff's Office. District Attorney Sandra Doorley, employees of the Martin County District Attorney's Office. Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court. Paul C. Master, James Jr. Pennsylvania Court. Public Defender Julie Sianka. My name is Chris Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. This is the Freedom of Information Law. There are 17 in here. You will refuse to comply with every single one. You've received this from me repeatedly over 18 months. The information I'm demanding, I'm not asking you hacks and sociopaths. The names of my prosecutors silence. How is any citizen in jail in the state of New York when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court? A prosecutor has never talked in court to make an argument I've committed a crime, and I've been in jail 6 times. I have prosecutors assigned to my court appearances: Perry Duckles and Mark Monahan at the District Attorney's Office, Julie Sianka, Mark Phillips, our Public Defender's Office. All 5 of you know those names, and you're refusing to tell me. Tell me those names. This is the Freedom of Information Law. I'm going to read every one. You're not comply with any. When I send this registered mail return receipt and you sign for it at the District Attorney's Office, Sheriff's Office, you'll still refuse. Information about the grand jury convened by District Attorney Sandra Doorley to target Christopher Chichester. That is 1. The month, day, and year the grand jury is convened. The assigned District Attorney's Office employed to address the grand jury, the witnesses to testify to the grand jury, the vote of the grand jurors. 5, a transcript of the grand jury proceedings. So there's 5 bullet points there. You're the director of the grand jury, Michelle Crowley. Why don't you call me to the grand jury? How's that answered? Do you know what I'm talking about, you disgusting, sickening $100,000 hack? $85,000 down bad debt on $73,000 Michael Lynn, the Sheriff's Office, walked onto the private property of my elderly neighbor 2 years ago and waited for me. Is that constitutional? Michelle Crowley, Mark Monahan, Perry Duckles. Can the cops anywhere in the United States of America walk onto private property and lie in wait for a citizen? I leave my residence because I'm going to Wegmans. Anything they say is a lie, because these are psychopath cops. When they come running at me, I turn around and run away. I never stop running. If I never stop running, I can't commit a crime. When I get to the back porch, I grab a hammer that I use to fix my bike. Michael Huan grabs my arm as my foot goes on the first of 3 steps. The hammer goes up, I pull away, run through the sliding glass door. I never stopped running. Michael Huan went back to the Sheriff's Office, District Attorney's Office, and lied and said I swung a hammer at him. You convened the grand jury, Michelle Crowley, and I'm indicted. When you don't interview me, you don't call me, you could have stood right in front of me, you disgusting hack, or anybody at the District Attorney's Office, and you could ask me question after question after question in front of that grand jury, and that's something you want to do. I'm your ham sandwich. You know exactly what I'm talking about the famous phrase, you can die to ham sandwich. How's this answer? I'll pursue your disbarment. What you have going for you is a corrupt county. The corruption in Monroe County is everywhere. The Appellate Division of State Supreme Court is where an attorney is disbarred. And when I get to the names on prosecutors, you're still going to refuse to tell me their names. I'm indicted when I don't know the grand jury's convened, and I'm indicted when Michael Huan purges. This is the perjury, and there better be a transcript to this. You're obliterating me with these 18 to 24 anonymous cities, people I don't even know. You want the stupidest people that you could find for a grand jury, as Donald Trump found out. How is this answered? It can't be answered. It can't be answered at all, because you're corrupt, Michelle Crowley. So I walked to the Penfield Public Library. Again, the fanaticism, the hatred, the malignancy of the Sheriff's Office. When I leave my residence where I live, 26 Sandra Home Drive, $75,000 psychopath J.C. was watching my front door in his sheriff office vehicle. I leave my residence, I walk to Penfield Road, I walk to Bad Road, I walk into the Penfield Public Library. I'm stalked into Penfield Public Library. Richard J. Seaman. Seaman runs at me, slams his arm to the side of my head. I fell backwards and my head hit ceramic tiles. A violent attack upon me by him, and I have a previous confrontation with him. I'm not alien to him. He knows exactly who I am. Violent attack upon me. And when I'm taken out of Penfield Public Library, down the hallway to Penfield Town Court where Paul C. was waiting for me, there's no one at the District Attorney's Office to make an argument that I committed a crime. Is that constitutional, Perry Douglas and Mark Monahan? Can Paul C. Metzer or James Ronley Jr. convene Penfield Town Court anytime they want for the express purpose of delivering the citizens to jail, and the District Attorney's Office is not notified, the District Attorney's not present, the District Attorney's Office is cut out of that process? Is that constitutional? I don't know. I will say when I don't know something, because I'm not an attorney and I don't have the arrogance to write about everything. You know if that's constitutional. I have my suspicions that it's not, but since the law in the state of New York, which I discovered when I worked in Albany for majority leader and governor, is bizarre, the criminal justice law, this could possibly be constitutional, where this revolting sick act can convene at Penfield Town Court and the district attorney's not notified and he's not a prosecutor making an argument that I committed a crime and I get to jail that way. That can be constitutional in the state of New York. I don't believe it is. You can tell me. And then I'm going to ask somebody at the Department of Justice to tell me too. She is vile and evil and sick. This Paul C. Metro sitting there underneath this hideous wig and her $28,000 salary doing this to me. And that's why I need my public defender. Doesn't that bother you? Public defender Julie Sianka, Mark Phillips, Regina Harper. You knew she was going to do this to me. You don't contact me. You have my email, cchachester@JUL4. You have my phone number, 813-648-4441. Any number of ways I've been in contact you prior to that happening to me. My public defender says to me, I'm your public defender. And I said my exact words were, get the hell away from me. Prosecutor's not there to make an argument I committed a crime. The public defender is notified I meet her at that moment. And there's Paul C. Messer ready to pronounce guilt, and I'm Bloomington, Livingston County Jail in Geneseo because of this psychopath that violently attacked me, Richard J. Seaman. Send me that check card, Baxter. That's the price of violence. I have 3 names. I have at least 3 prosecutors. Before John P. Metro Jr., Paul C. Metro, and Alex Renzi, what are their names? Tell me names. Tell me their names. Perry Duckles, Mark Monahan, cchachester@JO4gmail.com, or Christopher.Chichester@mail.com, 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York 14604. That's UPS. Tell me their names. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester before John P. Metro Jr., Palpatine Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra? The freak is right here. Just the payroll for the district attorney's office. What's the name of the freak? Perry Duckles, Mark Monahan, Julie Sianka, Mark Phillips, Regina Harper. You know the name. Freedom of Information Law. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester for Paul C. Metro Palpatine Court. What's the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? Payroll for the district attorney's office. The freak is right here. You know the name. Perry Duckles, Mark Monahan, Julie Sianka, Mark Phillips, Regina Harper. Tell me the name. Documentation, Freedom of Information Law, documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester for Alex Renzi, United States Supreme Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? The freak is right here. You know the name. Perry Duckles, Mark Monahan, Julie Sianka, Mark Phillips, Regina Harper. You refused to tell me. This last appearance before Alex Renzi said I was finished and done. That's not true. How easy it is. All it takes is one of you disgusting, sick degenerates in a district attorney's office, the fiction and fantasy, the corruption inside your head. You're writing a warrant, I'll be filed and tracked and stalked. You'll bring me to the corrupt judge and I'll be in jail again. Now what will happen to me? Or you use Pretrial Services Corporation. Jamie Bailey at a Pretrial Services Corporation is professional. But when I have to go over there and being compelled to go over there, I'm thinking, I have to go to Pretrial Service Corporation. It's no trial for me. Pretrial Service Corporation, I believe, is used as a mechanism to turn citizens to jail if you don't make a phone call and make an appearance. Pre-trial. No trial scheduling. The 1984 of justice in Monroe County, where this bureaucracy is being used upon me. If I don't make a phone call, I'll make an appearance and I can be back in jail. State legislature needs to reform that law. So, Alex Renzi, documentation for the case of Alex Renzi. He said I was finished and done. I had 2 females standing behind me. I'm at my temporary residence, which I'm not going to say, but the address is 70 Liberty Pole Way. You can Google it. This is the destruction of my life by my 80-year-old landlord, Anthony Ospina. Locked the door, locked me out with a court order. That's a crime, but all right to come out complaining about him. He's not going to be arrested. Nothing's going to happen to this 80-year-old man. So I'm at my temporary residence, 70 Liberty Pole Way. Whoever this is before Alex Renzi sent me documentation. I'm forced into Alex Renzi, where he remanded me to Monroe County Jail for 730 mental health evaluation, which I was found competent for. Why? This is the frightening existence of this $208,000 hack and fossil. He wants to examine the contents of my head, I believe undoubtedly, because of what I've been doing to you hacks and sociopaths on YouTube. Who the fuck is he? Dr. Alex Renzi wants to get inside my head? These can be abused too. When I contact the State Office of Mental Health and the Department of Health, I want to talk about how it was abused for me. When I took this at a place, her exact words to me were, you shouldn't be here. And I was also told that previously when I did have a 730. Where did I go after Monroe County the first time, Todd Baxter? I'm not going to say. But Dr. Jeremy Smith at this place also told me I shouldn't be there. You're using these mental health institutions to obliterate me when I'm being deposited inside them where I'm not being examined before. And then when I speak to the employees or the evaluators, I'm being released. Alex Renzi did that to me. And how's he explain? This is really frightening. Alex Renzi, I believe, has the arrogance and the corruption where he doesn't think he has to explain anything. And that's exactly the way bats are at the sheriff's office and district attorney's office. Whoever these prosecutors are that are doing this to me, they believe they don't have to explain anything ever. That's really frightening. So, And what's really frightening is Paul C. Metzler having my healthcare records. My former employers, the United States Senate, the United States House of Representatives passed in 1996 the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, commonly called HIPAA, to properly protect healthcare records. What's Paul C. Metzler doing with my healthcare records? The answer is you gave my healthcare records to Paul C. Metzler. I only told my mother and father where I've been. Harper knows where I've been. She's a public defender. Todd Baxter. I do not yet know if this is a federal crime. Paul C. Metzler stated the name of the place I went to after Monroe County Jail without a 730 when Dr. Jeremy Smith released me. How does she know this? What's your answer, Paul C.? Again, the frightening corruption, the insane existence of this $28,000 bald-headed widow when she's asked by anybody, what are you doing with his healthcare records? And how do you know where he went after Monroe County Jail? This disgusting, sick, vile hack doesn't think she has to explain anything. And neither do you, Todd Baxter. So, copy of private healthcare records with $28,000. Penn Court Judge Paul C. Metzler by Sheriff Todd Baxter in violation of the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996. In violation of HIPAA. There's no reason for her to have my healthcare records. There is, I believe, a Commission on Judicial Conduct. I have to check the exact name in Albany, where I lived and worked for 10 years in the city and in the county. I lived in the city for 5 years, and then my total existence say was 10 years. I lived in the Albany suburb of Gilroy. And I remember years ago seeing this Commission on Judicial Conduct, but this could be a temporary thing or some type of Moreland Act commission. If you employees of the District Attorney's Office know, the governor has the power in the Moreland Act commission to create a commission which has investigatory and subpoena power. Well, I do not yet know about the status of my healthcare records and if that's a crime and if, in fact, that can be investigated by the governor of New York or by anybody in Albany. I do not yet know what type of power there is in Albany to investigate you, Todd Baxter, for delivering my healthcare records to Paul C. Metzler. But I'll find out. So, the lunatic fringe of hatred. I hate to use this phrase. It has two words. I have to use it because of you. That's called surveillance device. You know you can humiliate me or anyone who uses that phrase because there are mentally ill people who think they're under surveillance by government. Nobody knows what you're talking about. That's a surveillance device. That's at 2025 Penfield Road. And this is why Ellie Roth works at business called Consumer Insights. That's his business. Says to me, going to be arrested for walk through his parkland house because you're a $67,000 cop freak. Shannon Meyer gave you $16,000 raise too. So, on this June 16, 2023, this photograph's why you're a fanatic. This photograph's why I'm an extremist. This photograph's why you're a liar. This photograph is why I know the name is $67,000 disgusting at Shannon Meyer. This photograph is why people hate the police. Freedom of information on the cost of a sales device purchase for taxpayer house by Monroe County Sheriff Todd Baxter, fixed to a building in 2025 Penfield Road, the model of Christopher Chai says 26 Sandra Drive, walks through the parking lot next to the building. And that's the lunatic fringe. This is the parking lot next to where I used to live. There's two of my neighbors up there. I'm walking from Gold's Gym at Fairport to this parking lot for the 4,000th time. Neighbor I shot, this 50-year-old man who lives with a 70-year-old mom, begins to scream at me inside his vehicle. I have a confrontation with him. He goes to the sheriff's office to demand I be arrested. This is how Shannon Meyer concocts a crime for me. Timothy Murphy, the Monroe County offers real private tax services, and nobody owns this land right here. Shannon Meyer told Steve Desmond, Brock Coltrane and Loan Care, that she wants to arrest me. And this is how she does it. She tells Steve Desmond, Brock Coltrane and Loan Care, ride attracted by his residence. If he comes out of the house, I'm going to arrest him. I already knew that there's no land ownership here. I come out of this house and say nobody owns the land and walk back to my residence. That's not a crime, Todd Baxter. You will have to say that's a crime. You'll have to say it's criminal contempt second. This is the lunatic fringe, this hatred, this sickness of Shannon Meyer, who did not fire and give a $16,000 raise. It's not a crime to tell a man on his tractor, Steve Desmond, Brock Coltrane and Loan Care, nobody owns the land and walk back to my residence. You'll have to say it's a crime. You'll have to say it's a crime to walk to this park lot. All the training that you have at the sheriff's office, all your employees, this is what your freak is doing. Shannon Meyer does not know what constitutes a crime, and you love freaks like her. Every single one of my charges, every single one is a fiction. Paul C. Metzler has in Penn Court charges for me where John P. Lomenzo Jr. is corrected by me because criminal contempt second on the documentation it said trespass. So I believe this is a charge for me. I'm going to find out. I do not know. Well, I corrected him in Penn Court. He screams my name. Christopher Chai says he's charged with trespass. I tell John P. Lomenzo Jr. it's not trespass, it's criminal contempt second. And I believe that he charged me with some type of contempt of court or something like that. Because there are charges for me in Penn Court where I'm talking to tax. And I'm telling him what I think about that. But I could be incorrect about that. Paul C. Menzo, James P. Jr. Are there charges for me in Penfield Court? Like when I corrected John P. Menzo Jr. and told him it's not trespass, it's criminal contempt second? Was I charged with some kind of offense because I corrected this hack in Penfield Court? Do you have additional charges for me talking in Penfield Court? Do you, Paul C. Menzo and James P. Jr., you holding me in contempt of court in there because I'm correcting you and I'm defiant? Are you doing this to me? I don't know. I'll write the Freedom of Information and you tell me. So. Is this sexual harassment? The sheriff's office, attorney's office, 18 plus months of abandonment. Freedom of information will cost the taxpayers, Monroe County Sheriff Todd Baxter, expended taxpayer house and employment-related discrimination lawsuits, federal Title 7, Civil Rights Act of 1964. This is the most important consequence of the 20th century, demand to know if you're in compliance with it. Because your employees are animals at the sheriff's office, attorney's office. I have no doubt that you're sexually harassing each other. I'm not going to define it. I've done previously. I'm already at 16 minutes here. Tell me if there's sexual harassment. You know the answer. Perry Douglas, you know the answer. Mark Monahan, you know right away what the answer is. And so does Sandra Doorley. This is confirmation that there is. If there is a settlement, or if there's any type of money expended for what's commonly called sexual harassment, freedom of information like cost taxes, Monroe County Attorney Sandra Doorley expended taxpayer hours and employment-related discrimination lawsuits, federal Title 7 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Tell me what the answer is, and you refuse because you're corrupt. When I was a public employee for the majority leader and Governor Albany, there was no overtime. When I was a public employee, U.S. House, U.S. Senate staffer, for Congressman Mark Smith of Texas and Senator Lucas Snow of Maine, no overtime because elected officials at that level and that status don't want the liability of their employees existing with overtime and then it being reported in the news media. Is there overtime? I do not know about the district attorneys. I'm absolutely confident, convinced you have overtime at the sheriff's office. Do you have your employees that can double their salaries? Todd Baxter. Can this freak, Shannon Myers, now paid $83,000, double her salary, be paid $166,000, $30,000 more than you, Todd Baxter, overtime? You know the answer. Can you, Todd Thurston, double your salary from $82,000 to $164,000? I don't know. You know. You know who can't double his salary? $0 Michael Rather. This is why you're a freak. I've used that word repeatedly. On this act called TikTok, I'm calling you freaks. On YouTube, titles over and over, you freaks. A $0. Is he still employed? What's he doing? Are you paying Michael Rather at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office private campaign money from when you were first elected in 2017 or private campaign money in 2021? Is he getting private money that's campaign money or not campaign? Michael Bradler, the $0 freak employee at the sheriff's office. And what's the answer? So I'm going to tell Tom Speaking Applin when I ask of him, because I can't demand of him, that he audit you. How's that answer? What's he do for $0? You're such a joke, an embarrassment, a disgrace with the $0 employee. Freedom of information law, the total cost of overtime, time and a half hour pay beyond a base salary is calculated the Monroe County Sheriff's Office time back. There's no doubt about it, you have overtime. This can remove you from office, or it can generate enough rage, if there is rage, in Monroe County when people just can be disgusted by you, Todd Baxter. And then the laser of attention is going to be focused on you, and you don't have to explain yourself with that rambling, that bumbling, that Three Stooges way. You talk, and don't answer the question. Freedom of information law, total cost of overtime, time and a half hour pay beyond a base salary is calculated the Monroe County Attorney's Office of Sandra Doorley. So here's the payroll for the district attorney's office, the first page. So of these freaks here is Meredith Smith, $110,000. Can Meredith Smith, Perry Douglas, and Mark Monahan be paid more money, $210,000, St. George? Can this Meredith Smith, paid $110,000, be paid another $100,000 and be paid the same amount of money Sandra Doorley or more? Because there are trials. This is the thing that really disgusts me. There is real violence in Monroe County, murder, rape, arson, a man set on fire on Lyle Avenue, and you're concocting crimes for me when Shannon Myers doing this to me. Warrant for my arrest for park I've walked through 4,000 times, trying to get the civilian to come over to my residence and thinking about how she wants to arrest me. She's not doing a job where there is real violence in Monroe County. It's really disgusting and sickening. So you have real trials with real criminals committing real criminal acts, and this is what you hacks and ciphers, sociopaths are doing to me? I'm being prosecuted in total silence. That's what I mean by doing to me. Prosecuted in total silence. How does that happen to anybody? Fanaticism, hatred, and corruption. So, tell me the names of these freaks. I'll pursue the disbarment. You're refusing, and I'm not surprised you're refusing. So, yeah. Taking pictures of the employees underwater in a pool, Todd Baxter. You know what I'm talking about? Because I've held that photo up repeatedly, which I have right here. I don't care if it's a private event. I'm demanding this again, the 1984 you, the corruption of you, the delusion of you, Todd Baxter, in your office. I don't care if it's a private event. I'm demanding if it's taxpayer dollars. You're telling me it's a private event. It could be private and tax dollars, pardon me. Tell me what the answer is. Weren't taxpayer dollars expended to take this photograph? The American flag's in the background. You got this equipment down here. Do you have a dive team for Lake Ontario? Because criminals will dispose evidence in water. That's legitimate to have a dive team. What's not legitimate is these guys underwater in the pool that are your employees having a good time. Just like Ryan Fisher in Atlanta, Georgia. So, freedom of information on the cost of photography session photograph 10 mile County Sheriff Office employees underwater in the pool. A joke, a disgrace. I think that'll leap out at Controller Thomas P. DiNapoli when he looks at that when I send it to him. The controller has such powers under state constitution and in his office where him or his employees under an audit can find out things that an ordinary citizen like me can never be able to discover or even think about because they're trained professionals. So I believe that you could have Enron-style corruption at that sheriff's office. Todd Baxter. So, what he paid at the public defender's office. You know how you avoid me writing this foil and being on here at YouTube, Judy Sianka, Mark Phillips, Regina Harper? You just tell me the names of my prosecutors. It's insane, which is a word I use over and over. For you to pursue, disclose names that you have. It's not where I say to you, what's the name of my prosecutor for John Pimenza Jr., Paul C. Metro, and Alex Renzi? And you legitimately can say, we have no idea. You know. Because you're the public defender. I hope you know I once had respect for you and it's slowly eroded. And this is the reason why, this is the driving force reason why I'm just refusing to tell me the names of my prosecutor, the prosecutor not backing down. Those are your exact words, Regina Harper, to me about this 5'2" three-piece suit boy who has my concocted charges fictionalized for a false Metzer. Not backing down in total silence. That means you talk to him. I walked up with him to Penn Court. I said, you're going to stand there and say not one word? That's the time I was in Penn Court where there was a prosecutor. So I've been in Penn Court to leave jail without the district attorney's office being notified. And I've been in Penn Court where there's total silence in jail. So at Penn Court, is it just you, James Felling Jr., you, Paul C. Metzer, and the old lady? Huh? Tell me. The name, salary of every public employee, Penn Court, 195 bedroom, Penn, New York, 14526. This hacking fossil allowance Renzi. Sitting there alone for me, the state legislature, Senate Majority Leader Andrew Stewart, Cousins, Steve Carl, he need to reform to slow down one judge to have total control over. That's exactly what happens to me. A life without a prosecutor. How is that possible constitutional? So, freedom of information on the names and salaries of every public employee in New York State Supreme Court. Supervisor Judge Alex Renzi, 99 St. Boulevard, Rochester, 14604. 25% he's in there with. You know he's in there with 25% employees at the district attorney's office. What do you think about that? Those ballot access laws. It's one thing for him to access the ballot. That's understandable. But he wins as the victor with 25% of the vote to Alex Renzi. I do not know if he was elected in a multi-candidate field like Julie Hahn, who's not elected, who's the loser, who's not even in second place. Doesn't this concern you as officers of the courts? Alex Renzi's in New York State Supreme Court, 25% of the vote, but he is the victor. And Julie Hahn is on Monroe County Court, where she's not even close to being the victor. The victor was at 31%. She's 17%. You get the perverse when I was on first day I born vision, and I really was. I looked at it and thought, what's with that? Why don't they just have the American flag? The stars and bars of the state of Georgia was not changed since 2003. Freedom of information was the last one. Your contracts for weapons again. When I contact Thomas P. DiNapoli, I've been demanding this now repeatedly, and I say to him, I'm demanding something to contract for your weapons, and you're refusing. I believe this will be a reason he will decide to audit you. Freedom of information on the contract signed by Sheriff Todd Baxter to purchase firearms. My County Sheriff Office employees to include 1, the name of the firearms contractor; 2, the number of firearms purchased; 3, total amount of taxpayer dollars to purchase firearms. So that's everything there. That's all 17. You can refuse to comply with every one. All 17 I read came to your office on a previous foil. This is the state stamp this. I didn't check the green card and go back to my UPS box, but what I just read arrived in your office on May 27th. Todd Baxter, Sandra Doorley, Alex Renzi, and Trini Ross, the United States Attorney for West District of New York. I have not yet written the distinguished Miss Ross in Buffalo about what's happened to me. I've just sent her documentation. When documentation arrives at your office and I copy these courts I've been in, these revolting star chambers, Miss Ross gets it. So this is corruption right here. This is February 25th. YouTube. I'm telling you, Perry Duck was here on this Saturday, February 25th, 2023. 413-918 First District Attorney Perry Douglas identifying prosecute silence. This is in your office. I understand if I email you something, you think, who is this? I don't care about this. And it's ignored. This is in your office in a packet of documents that I've sent to you repeatedly. When I say it's in your office, what I just showed you is in this packet of documents that came to your office last month, where the first one is Perry Duckles on January 1. On this January 1 here, pathetic accumulation of health afflictions is sending information on UPS address listed below includes the names on prosecute silence. The pathetic accumulation of health afflictions, Perry Duckles is saying to Doorley. This is in your office. This packet here is in your office, where this is included to you, where your boss can look at it that I'm communicating with you. Think this is the same corruption of you? State legislature. This is one judge here, February 20, 2020. This law here needs to be changed. And it can be extremely difficult, even if a law carries with it, a bill carries with it the weight of morality, to get that into law. And I used to sit by the squawk box when I worked for the majority leader a long time ago in the 1990s for 4 years, and I would hear the legislation being introduced on the floor. And I never really considered sometimes the legislation that was being introduced because it can be frenetic. I don't remember anything ever being on the floor. The 4 years I'm listening to this squawk box about one judge determining innocent guilt, because it was so long ago. But this is still the law. This had to be the law 30 years ago, and I believe it still is. This is an abomination here, one judge. Because one judge anywhere from Montauk on the eastern part of Long Island where I'm from to Buffalo, everywhere in between, can determine innocent guilt. Doesn't that bother you by officers of courts? You have your husbands, your wives, your boyfriends, your girlfriends, your sons, your daughters, your nieces, your nephews. Doesn't that bother you? At the district attorney's office, at one judge anywhere in Monroe County to destroy the lives of your friends and family members? And it should. It's not just law that you're just wielding upon me to obliterate me, because it's going to happen to anybody. All it takes is one corrupt psychopath in a little room like John P. Lomenzo Jr. in Pentown Court, Paul C. Metzer in Pentown, and Alex Renzi in New York State Supreme Court. I'm fundamentally altered and changed. I will never be the same. I don't look at truth and honor and decency the way I did before I moved to Monroe County at all, because of what you've done to me with one judge. That's why I continue to hold this up. One judge is the previously state just like this, because I took every cent for money. Alex Renzi took it up and just tossed it aside like that, which is, he's indicating to me that it really doesn't matter to him that I'm an innocent man. And he's indicating to me that it really doesn't matter that you're psychopaths at the sheriff's office and district attorney's office. Doesn't matter to him at all. So Michael Radler and Kathleen Miller and Scott O'Berty and William Today, that parking lot I live next to in Penfield, New York. Did you know that you can walk through that parking lot without being arrested? Why is that? As I'm looking for a photograph of it, which I have right here. $0 Michael Radler, $1,000 William Today, $34,000 Kathleen Miller, Scott O'Berty. You can walk through this parking lot. You're a different kind of American than me. Just because you're a cop freak, Shannon Meyer. How is it a crime to walk through this parking lot? How? And what by Renzi has answers. It's not a crime to walk through that parking lot. It's not a crime to tell a man on his tractor nobody knows the land and walk back at Renzi. These are not crimes. How often the Monroe County Sheriff's, you use civilians upon citizens. It doesn't. And the sliding glass door, which was broken, was fixed. I'm locked out. I slept at Harris Whalen Park in 3 weeks because 80-year-old Anthony Ospano of Fairport, New York, locking doors and locking me out. Everything I've been told by the Tenant Defense Project, my research, doesn't matter. I didn't have a lease. I still have nearly the same protections as tenants with a lease. And locking a door and locking me out without a court order is a crime. When I go into detail about what Anthony Ospano's done to me, when I'm in that park for 3 weeks, I'm around the wild animals, I'm around the strangers, the rain would come down on me. It won't matter. You will not arrest him because he's an 80-year-old man. That's why he speaks in broken English too. And he's going to say something along the lines, I believe, if he gets to the point where he possibly could be arrested, that he didn't know that this was a crime. He's an old man. He's from Italy, and he doesn't know a goddamn thing. And you're going to go for this because you're sociopaths at the district attorney's office. That's why. What's in here, Paul St. Metzer? Is this you telling me you want to send me to jail? I have not opened this yet. I will get physically up. I have to look at whatever Paul St. Metzer sent me. This revolting hack was in there with 5,000 votes. When you're in there, employees, Mark Mahan and Perry Douglas, have you been in there? I think I saw in your biography, Perry Douglas, that you were once the deputy chief of the chief of local court. So I'll guess that you have been in Penfield Court. I'll look at someone as an assistant district attorney with their education and striving to get to that point where they graduate law school with that JD and all that schooling and experience, and they get hired at the district attorney's office where you're prosecuting murder cases. And then you have to go into Penfield Town Court and appeal for this bald-headed widow, Paul C. Metzler, with $34,000 James B. Mully Jr. under that dome of gray hair. And aren't you thinking, I just cannot believe I'm in front of these two hacks? Because that's what I would be thinking if I was in that same situation as any employee at the district attorney's office. That's to go in front of Paul C. Metzler and James Mully Jr. and then John P. Menzer Jr. before Paul C. Metzler released accused child rapist Danny DeLaus III. So, and this is the key UPS store. What's going to happen to me? There's going to be nothing in there. Two things. Nothing's going to be in there. I will not know the names of these sociopaths, psychopaths prosecuting me in total silence. Or you're going to have documentation in there forcing me into some court like Alex Renzi or somebody else where you don't have to talk to the district attorney's office. I don't have any due process. You just declare me guilty and then you'll keep me in jail for as long as you want to keep me in jail. 620 Park Avenue, PMB. Number 361 Rochester, 14604. That's it right there. Send the names of my prosecutors to that address. When I'm in Livingston County Jail, I had to go to the kiosk. And I kept saying, how long am I be? I'm not being told I'm in Livingston County Jail. How long am I going to be there? After I was violently attacked by Richard J. Seidman. And I would go to this kiosk and I have to type with my two fingers like this. And nobody's telling me. And this is when Regina Harper says to me, the judge is holding you, and how is that constitutional? I saw a violent attack at Livingston County Jail. I had to give a statement for. That jail is different than Monroe County Jail. I now have expertise on the different designs of jails. And every time I'm in jail, I'm not eating food. Because jail food is disgusting. And other things are happening to me when I'm in jail. I would sit up against the wall in Livingston County Jail so nobody would be behind me. You know who was in Livingston County Jail? Not when I was there. Peyton Gendron. He's the Tops, Buffalo, New York mass murderer. I believe that he was moved from Erie County, which is where Buffalo is, of course, to this jail because he was possibly a security risk. Peyton Gendron was in the same jail, Livingston County Jail in Genesee, New York, that I was in. And there were murderers in there when I was in there. And Sheriff Thomas J. Doorley, Livingston County, does the same thing you do, Todd Baxter, as he fails to separate the non-violent inmates from the violent inmates. When I was in Monroe County Jail the first time, I was there with 80-year-old Bob, and he was in total fear. And I was in there next to murderers and a rapist. Separate your violent inmates from the non-violent inmates. Because then you can prevent violence being in Monroe County Jail. And I'm demanding from you, Todd Baxter, a state of violence in Monroe County Jail. And you're refusing to disclose that to me. I just recently wrote to you about state of violence in Monroe County Jail on May 20th. Right here, I'm telling you to tell me about violence. Are inmates at Monroe County Jail committing violent crimes, violent acts in Monroe County Jail, and they are prosecuted by the district attorney's office for these violent crimes in Monroe County Jail? And what I'm attempting to discover from you, you bald-headed Benito Mussolini fanatic and skinhead, is if you have no control over your jail. How many crimes are committed in Monroe County Jail? 1. How many inmates are prosecuted by the district attorney's office? 2. For violent crimes committed at Monroe County Jail and refuse to tell them it's corrupt. So, that's why I fish in Atlanta, Georgia. and Georgia. Stars and bars. A disgrace. And the last thing, come to my residence, demand my dog. When I go back to a dog adoption society in Albany, when I move there, which should be soon, I will not be able to adopt another dog, pardon me, because they'll do a background check and they'll find out I've been in jail 6 times. It won't matter when I say to a dog adoption society in Albany, New York, a prosecutor's never talked to court, I'm an innocent man. It's I'm in jail and that's the end of it. You must have done something wrong. You must have done something wrong is what my family members think, which is why I don't have any relationship with them, because that's ludicrous. This is his Nayraj Shah and Lady Kumar Shah 4,000 times I walk my dog. Nayraj Shah's mother opens up the window and their employees screaming at me. A half an hour later, there's the Monroe County Sheriff Office at my register demanding my dog. It's a vicious confrontation where I said to your employees, you've been eating Mussolini skinhead Todd Baxter. You have to kill me to take my little guy from me. This is what this Nayraj Shah is doing. Going to the sheriff's office, which takes resources to be expended in the person of Shannon Meyer to talk to this psychopath about a crime that's not being committed for me walking through the park lot because it's only me. So Nayraj Shah and Lady Kumar Shah is going to you about me walking through this park lot. They're calling the sheriff's office to come to my residence to seize my dog. These two are vile and sick. When I was at the YMCA, this Lady Kumar Shah went up to a YMCA employee and said I don't belong to the YMCA because Paul C. Metzer, underneath that hideous wig, writing orders of protection for me to avoid these two when I've never met them. So, this is the registered mail return receipt that's been filled out. I'm only going to hold up 3. Mark Monahan, this is going to come to you for it, and you're going to refuse to tell me the names. I'm going to send you a packet. Same thing, Perry Duckles. I'm going to send this to you. I'm going to demand you disclose the names on process. Sandra will get this too. And then the third one, I have a packet here. This is Sheriff Thomas Doorley. I'm going to ask him, what am I doing in Livingston County Jail? And he's going to refuse to answer. I have no doubt that he's every bit as corrupt as you, Todd Baxter. So, the Freedom of Information Law has been transmitted to you. And it was also transmitted to you on this June 4th here. What I just read was transmitted to you on that June 4th. And also on June 2nd. June 6th, June 4th, June 2nd. Just in the month of June, 9 Freedom of Information Law documents for these 3 judges, demanding you disclose the names of my prosecutors, and all 9 you refuse to comply with and identify my prosecutors as silence because you, Sandra Doorley, are corrupt. My name is Christopher Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I have been